Well, thank you all for coming out today. I really appreciate it. This is a very important topic and something that needs to be addressed here in Arizona. I'm Karen Warner, and I represent Legislative District 4. Alongside me, we have lawmakers from both the Senate and the House, and Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell, who will also provide comments today, along with Senator Shamp and two of our advocates. Bridget Vega and Katie Pearson have been advocates and do a lot of work in our child safety in our communities, and they will be sharing some thoughts with us as well. And we have the Holcomb family, whose lives have been turned upside down by the subject matter we're about to discuss. Where are you guys? There you are. Come on up a little bit. And we'll also have Gretchen Jacobs, mom to Ava, a nonverbal, autistic, former student in my district who was horrifically sexually abused repeatedly. And if this law had been in place, she would have not been sexually abused at all. That is the impact of what we're here for today. Child predators are flying under the radar in our K-12 school districts. And while no students should be in and around these predators, neither should the staff. And sadly, what I have seen is some school administrators are attempting to handle these cases on their own, at times sweeping the offenses under the rug unknowingly or knowingly, and failing to hold these predators accountable, which ultimately allows the victimization continue, whether with different students or the next school that they migrate to. In 1995, the creation of the investigative unit at Board of Education was formed. And all they were to do is to investigate unprofessional conduct and immoral conduct in our K-12 schools. In 2023 alone, 39% of all adjudicated cases were sexual misconduct with students. For context, there was 272 cases adjudicated. 106 were sexual misconduct with students. Senate Bill 1437 was inspired by the numerous disturbing cases that have come to light during my service as a governing board member. Inappropriate touching of students, educators requesting nudes through Snapchat, teachers having sex with teens they're responsible for educating, contracted Uber-style transportation services that transport our most vulnerable students are sexually assaulting students. So this is just a snapshot of the irreparable harm that is happening by those we're supposed to trust. 1437 will protect students, provide transparency and a clear path to reporting, and ensure that sexual predators are brought to justice under the full force of the law. This bill adds governing board members, as well as substitute teachers and school safety officers, to the list of individuals who are required to report to law enforcement agencies any cases of sexual misconduct by a public school employee. I have worked with stakeholders to ensure the bill does not remove school resource officers from the process, but instead adds additional opportunities for reporting to be made directly to law enforcement. And this is really a supplement and a force multiplier to keep our kids safe. Our children must be protected from those who abuse their trusted positions. And with that, I bring up Rachel Mitchell, County Attorney.
Well, first of all, thank you, Senator Warner, and other representatives and senators and the families and members of the media for being here today. As Senator Warner mentioned to you, I'm here in support of Senate Bill 1437. The clarification to the current law that this bill delivers is absolutely critical in prosecuting child offenders. When a child discloses to a mandatory reporter that they are being abused by a teacher, coach, any school official, or really anyone at all, that person has a duty under current Arizona law to report to a police department the allegations and evidence of child abuse. The way it stands right now, we at the Maricopa County Attorney's Office are learning of cases where a child will report the abuse to a school personnel, and the administrator or someone else at the school will interview the child or direct somebody within the school to interview the child. And in some cases, they will report the allegations to the school resource officer, but it will end there. Under Arizona law, each county has to have its own child abuse protocol, and schools must know that protocol and should follow that protocol. As a career sex crimes prosecutor, I have trained personnel, school personnel, on the law and the protocol that must be followed. We are aware of several scenarios like the one that I just described that have recently been brought to our attention, and the law is not being followed. Senate Bill 1437 will clarify the law, and here's what it does. It adds a reporting requirement to the law that a school administrator must report the allegation to a law enforcement agency. Reporting an incident to a school resource officer will not satisfy this requirement. Student victims must be interviewed by investigators who have been trained specially to do this type of delicate work, and that training has to comport with the child abuse protocol of the county. Let me be very clear. School personnel and SROs and school safety officers should not be interviewing children about these types of allegations. The school also needs to notify, in addition to the police, the Department of Child Safety if this is an in-home situation. The school staff member to whom the child disclosed must be the one that makes the report. You cannot pass along the duty to report by telling a boss. You cannot pass off the duty to report by reporting it, for example, to the principal. And in speaking of those who are mandated reporters, the bill will add substitute teachers and school board members to the list of mandatory reporters. This is important because we've had cases go nowhere because the school improperly handles the initial report. A school official who does not follow the child abuse protocol could be the difference, and has been the difference, between achieving justice for the victim or the offender not being held accountable at all. So let me be very clear. I've worked with schools my entire career. I've worked on this law at various times in my career. And the last thing that I want to do is prosecute somebody for failing to report. But I have, and I will. In the next few days, the Maricopa County Attorney's Office will be making available a short video for school personnel to review that talks about where they can get the state law mandated training that they are mandated to get under the law that deals with the mandatory reporting law. So that will be released from my office in the next few days. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Janae Shamp. I'm the Arizona Senate Majority Leader, and I'm out of District 29. And I'm here to make two statements. I'm so very grateful for the knowledge and the expertise and the people coming together to continue to do what I have set out to do since I got down here, and that's to make pedophiles' lives hell. Thank you.
Good morning. I stand here before you today as a voice for the voiceless and as a community advocate and a mother in support of SB 1437. We must confront the uncomfortable truths within our communities. We cannot turn a blind eye. We have seen firsthand the trauma and devastation that has plagued our children and communities. This bill will raise awareness and give opportunity to shift the culture of no longer turning a blind eye. Proximity matters. SB 1437 will strengthen the ability to hold mandatory reporters accountable. But let's also look at the term mandatory supporters so we can prevent it before any neglect or abuse happens. It will prevent the continued infliction of emotional distress and physical harm on our youth and on our communities. We must not allow abusers to perpetuate the violence and abuse, causing long lasting damage to young lives and to the fabric of our society. It also gives an extra layer of support and confronts the grooming and luring of children, including addressing the legal action for those who fail to report. Or in cases I've advocated for victims where there was complicit trusted adults. Enough is enough. It has gone unchecked for far too long. Thank you, Senator Warner, Rachel Mitchell's office, and everyone who worked hard on this bill to help fill in the gaps to ensure protection for our children when they do come forward, and working hard to create a safer environment and brighter future for our children. Thank you to all of the victims for staying strong, as it has been an uphill battle, and it is not easy. Please know you are not alone. I pray that you continue to stand encouraged as you've continued to speak your truth, standing in the face of adversity, and have given so many other children a voice. Please know we hear you, we see you, we stand by you, we support you, we believe you. You are enough. Your life is priceless and you matter. We love you. Please remember, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. Take your candle and go light your world. Thank you. Bridget Vega, BridgetVega, community advocate.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. My name is Katie McPherson. I'm a youth mental health advocate and mother of 4 teenagers in the East Valley. Abuse and violence can only persist if conditions and environments allow for it. According to the Department of Education, 1 in 10 students will be sexually abused during their K-12 experience. The average age of the educator is 36, and he or she is usually under the employment of their 3rd school. The average age of the victim is 15. Abusers know this age well because you get less time for the crime when your victims are this age. There are 261 public school districts within Arizona. In the vast majority of these districts, the student who reports sexual or other types of behavioral abuse can typically count on a proper and professional response from leadership. Unfortunately, there are districts within our state that have developed a complicit and shameful culture that have allowed them to ignore, circumvent, or even exploit weaknesses in the current statute, and in ways that have effectively shielded numerous predatory actors, resulting in many victims with outlooks such as drug and alcohol addiction, drug abuse, broken relationships and marriages, and even attempts of suicide. Risk retention insurance pools and their overly aggressive law firms have additionally placed the interests of the school districts they protect over the more important interests of student safety and well-being. Thank you to Senator Warner, County Attorney Mitchell, and their honorable colleagues on both sides of the aisle. Senate Bill 1437 will completely alleviate the burden of investigative responsibility from unqualified school administrators for certain types of complaints and place it rightly in the hands of trained professionals. Victims will experience greatly improved rights to proper and professional law enforcement investigations. Senate Bill 1437 also makes exceptionally clear to all school personnel what their true responsibilities and deadlines are in regard to reporting properly. It also holds them extremely accountable for failing to take their protective duties seriously. This is one bill that all of those involved in education will need to read and learn. Senate Bill 1437 is solely the product of past victims and child safety advocates coming together, regardless of political affiliation, to analyze which statutory weaknesses still exist and find legislative remedies to close the gaps. To my fellow Arizonans, I urge us all to take this opportunity to join together and urge Governor Katie Hobbs to sign the most beneficial school safety bill in decades. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out today. I really appreciate it. I appreciate shining a light on this issue.